Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Paradise, and it is great to be here with all of you. It is Sunday, August the 22nd. We are here every Sunday offering our Sunday service celebration of music and message and prayer support via the affirmative prayer practice of spiritual mind treatment. I'm Reverend Christine Jeffers, and a couple of announcements this morning before we begin. I wanted to let you know that we have a certificated Science of Mind class starting on Wednesday, September the 22nd, and it's going to be a late morning 10 to 12:30 class. Thank you. The host just asked me to unmute. Seriously, everything I've said, I've been on mute. Oh, gosh. No? Okay.
No, just the last 10 seconds.
Oh, I don't know how that, okay. So anyway, and hello, David Isham. We have David Isham and David Kopp. You guys can wave at each other. Anyway, we have a certificated Science of Mind class starting. This is a brand new class. I've never taught it. I've also enlisted Reverend Larry. You all know him, Reverend Larry Pesta. He's our guide here every Sunday and helping us with tech things. Yes, he just waved. So Larry and I are going to work together to present this class beginning Wednesday, September 22nd. It's an 8-week class from 10 to 12:30, and it's called The Art and the Science of Spiritual Mind Treatment. The thing about this class is that title and what we are going to focus on relates to what we believe, what it does, how it works, how do I use it, and then also spiritually, how does it work? How does it manifest in my life? And what is my part and my practice in doing that? And deepening our consciousness in terms of how to use it for specific things that we are faced with in our lives. So if you'd like more, all the information about it is in the e-blast. If for whatever reason you're not receiving that or you want more information, please contact me. And you can always contact me at revjeffers@gmail.com. Rev, R-E-V, Jeffers, Jeffers @gmail.com if you would like to register for the class. Also this morning, please, if you would like to stay after for prayer requests. If you know how to use the chat, you can send me a chat directly and tell me that you would like prayer after the service, and I will be here. And then lastly, and most importantly, I want to remind you that the celebration of life for our beloved Julie Cook is next Saturday. And the service is going to begin at 6 p.m. It's at the Paradise Community Park. And the location of that is also in the e-blast. In a minute, Jay, I'm going to ask you if there's anything that you would like to add about this. If you would like to come at 5 o'clock and bring snacks and something for bring your own everything, chairs and whatever you would like. The service will be start at 6, maybe a little over an hour. And Alan Rigg and his band are going to play some music as well. So more information in our e-blast. And Jay, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I think you nailed it all. I'm really looking forward to everybody joining us for a big party and a great concert by Alan.
And
I love you all.
Yeah, thank you. And is your family coming?
Oh yeah, we'll be there in force. I've got lots of people coming from out of the area. One of the gentlemen who was the best man at my wedding is going to speak. He's one of the few people I've known longer than Julie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, only by a couple of months, but I've known him technically longer than Julie. So anyways, Kelly's going to speak as well and bring his family, and yeah, there'll be lots of people there.
Okay, and that's the Paradise Community Park on Black Olive.
Black Olive and Pearson.
Yeah, okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll be there, and we will be celebrating Julie's life. So I just want to take a deep breath. We're going to move into an opening song and by Rod Loomis, and some of you may recognize this song from way back in time. It's called Open My Eyes. Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And please join me. Let's open our eyes. Open my eyes, that I may see fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands the wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee, ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine. Open my ears, that I may hear voices of truth thou sendeth clear. Everything false will disappear. Silently now I wait for thee, ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my ears, illumine me, Spirit divine. Open my ears, illumine me, Spirit divine.
And so it is that we come together this morning in the recognition of that one all-knowing, all-powerful, infinite voice and mind, hearing and seeing of spirit. And as I close my eyes and turn away from outer distractions, I am able to see with the inner eye of wisdom, of infinite love, knowing that as I turn within and pause for guidance, that there is a fullness of truth within me that guides and directs me. And so I know this for each and every one of us and for everyone within the sound of my voice, that the fullness of truth is the spirit of divine within our heart, that we are here this morning by divine appointment, and that everything that each one needs is being manifest in its fullness for their forward movement in life, for a deepening relationship with the spirit of life that lives within. And whether it be healing of any kind, whether it be spiritual renewal, a new revelation, a pause to turn within and to hear that inner guidance, I know that whatever is needed is already unfolding and taking place for each individual this day. And so I give thanks for all of the ways that this celebration service this morning is supported. I give thanks for the oneness of life that is unfolding through each one of us and our connection with this individual, this infinite one, and yet our knowing that we are each unique and special creations of the one, that we can never be separate, never alone, and that all truly is well in our lives. So in gratitude, I release it. I release it into that infinite mind. I know that the power and the presence and the truth of this word is unfolding for each of us. And together we affirm, and so it is. Thank you, Larry, for playing that. Oh, that's so wonderful. Love always finds a way. Three of my favorite New Thought artists, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, who serves the Reno Center for Spiritual Living, and Amy Bishop is at our center in Calgary. And all three of them, when we have conferences and special events, are always giving service. And it's just fantastic the way our musicians have found ways through the pandemic to continue to bring their gifts online for all of us. So before I get too far into my talk, you may have noticed that Molly Millay is not here today. And so since she is a regular and most of the time leading our meditation, I just wanted to give a shout out to Peter Millay for his birthday that he is celebrating. And she posted on Facebook that he's celebrating his 79th birthday, and their sons and family is in Chico. They've rented a house and they're all together enjoying that. And so why don't you all just, I'm going to go off speaker view here, and who knows, maybe they are watching on Facebook Live. So let's just all wave to them. Happy birthday, Peter, if they're listening or watching later. I know that they'll appreciate it.
Happy birthday, Peter.
Great. Awesome. All righty. So for August, in general, the theme for August has been a pause for spiritual guidance. And I think that we can all agree that in order to hear Spirit's guidance, that we must pause. Specifically in the past, what I found is that when I did not have a regular practice of pausing for spiritual guidance, to hear that inner voice, and Rod, you sang about that in the song, Open My Eyes That I May See. And of course, we know that the seeing is internal. The seeing is actually a perceiving. And the hearing, our inner hearing, which I think could also be called our inner knowing, the voice of God within us, as us, comes from a regular spiritual practice. Quieting, sitting quietly, finding ways of practice, times of day that work the best for us so that we can develop a habit, whether that be meditation, contemplation, affirmative prayer. I've talked about setting aside time, regular time in the morning. Doesn't have to be a lot of time for spiritual reading. And it doesn't matter if it's something that you've read before. I know with the Science of Mind textbook that when I open it up, it's not uncommon to go, oh, I don't remember that. Where did that come from? Or I have read it many, many times, but all of a sudden I'm perceiving it in a deeper way that applies to whatever I'm going through right now. So we must develop the practice of pausing. And the more that we do that on a regular basis as a habit, the greater our ability to stop in the moments of high stress, of feeling really disconnected, feeling anything but calm and connected. We develop the ability, we do have the ability to do that. As within, so without. And one of a major part of our teaching is developing a relationship with the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God, the presence that is alive and well within each one of us. That is a basic principle. That's the fullness of truth that this teaching is based on. That the presence of God is within us, around us, expressing through us, to the degree that we are available to it, to the degree that we are listening. And when we don't listen, that infinite spirit that is manifesting through the conditions and the experiences of our lives will still work and unfold to get our attention. So it's said that we can be drawn into this teaching. We can be drawn into the fullness of spirit within us through inspiration. but we can also be pushed by desperation. The thing is that if we're pushed by desperation to where we've tried all kinds of other ways to fix things or change other people or change the circumstances outside of ourselves, and it's oh so exhausting, and it is the cause to feeling a greater sense of separation, to feeling alone and frustrated, that nothing is working, and that actually we might even say everything's working against me. That's the call. And we can say nothing's wrong here, because what I'm realizing from this is this outer experience is getting my attention and saying, my beloved, pause, stop, turn within, listen, see with your own inner eye that heaven is within. That as you change the way that you are thinking and feeling about yourself and various situations, that the situation changes. A pause for guidance is everything. So today, I want to talk about specifically about sparking imagination. Now, just as we can be pulled by inspiration or pushed by desperation, our imagination can be either sparked a greater idea, an idea that is more loving and harmonious and free and peaceful, and allows us the ability to express our unique and individual talents and ways of being. But we also know that we can be triggered. Our imagination can be triggered, can it not? And every single human being that has been incarnated into human form has a fertile and vivid imagination. We want to move to our imagination being sparked, ignited, opened. We want to move more toward that consciousness as opposed to being triggered to where we're reacting, where we're going into fight or flight, where we're trying to control things, or where we just withdraw into ourselves and move away from problems and situations, but they don't go away, do they? So when we have developed and created this practice of pausing for spiritual guidance, what begins to happen is that we create an opening within our consciousness for our inner vision to flow with ideas, inspiring ideas. We create the opening within ourselves for feelings and inklings and intuitions about ways that we can just feel and be more peaceful. And also specific ideas in terms of challenges that we're dealing with. We hear that inner guidance. So this is a big part of our spiritual practice, is to opening to our imagination. So when we, through our spiritual practice, connect with spirit, when we let go of the constraints of individual situations, and we turn within and we close our eyes and we begin to breathe. We take in something nurturing. We remember that we're never alone. It truly is an opening within our consciousness so that we receive something that's really already been there, but it takes quiet. Because the mind that wants to fix it and control it and have all the answers and that is so wound up in the problem is noisy. Is it not? So noisy. It's like the beating of a drum, a loud drum, or the shaking of that instrument that has all the little beads. It's very high pitched and loud. But that inner voice remains, awaiting our recognition. Now, Reverend Larry is helping me this morning with a PowerPoint. And so I want to share with you, and this is an experiment that we're working on. So the first slide, Larry, and then we'll move to the slide 2. So Dr. Holmes says, one of his quotes about imagination is that our imagination is like fire from heaven. And what he's talking about is creation. That our imagination is creative. So Larry, is this going to work? Are you going to be able to show the PowerPoint, or should I? You're on mute. There we go. So the first one that has the image. There we go. The fire from heaven. So I want you to take this in, that this visual, this is real. And this is a replication. Use your imagination that when you turn within and you capture a larger idea that is based on spiritual qualities of peace, love, beauty, joy, harmony, life, eternal life, ongoing forever and ever. And you come into the idea that your thought is creative, that your imagination sparks creation. And Dr. Holmes calls it the fire from heaven. It stirs the fire from heaven and brings things into form through you. And yes, they will show up outside of you because all of a sudden you're looking through a different eye. So let's look at the next slide. I want to share with you in the Science of Mind textbook what Dr. Holmes, in the glossary, the definition for imagination. So in defining imagination, he says, imagination carries with it feeling and conviction, which means life and action. It awakens within us all the inner forces of nature and stirs into action latent powers, which otherwise would never come to the surface. You think that when your imagination is being triggered by fears about the pandemic, by separation of people, that friends, family, people that you care about, because the pandemic has become politicized, when you think about losing a job, a relationship, all of the shifts and the changes in life, and you think about coming from that place of fear and lack, that there's not enough, that you're not enough. The imagination gets triggered. But what this is telling us is that we can pause for guidance, that the imagination within us, when we connect with God as our source, the spirit of this life within us, that the creative, what makes it creative is feeling and conviction that it's life and action. Okay. So you can pause that, Larry. So as I said, everyone is imbued and surrounded by this presence. And we are, whether we know it or not, whether we're conscious or not, we are all always imagining and reimagining through our own self-perception, how we perceive ourselves. You could say our own self-esteem, and from our own individual consciousness. But when we set into motion the idea, the knowing that there's something greater for us, no matter how good things are in our life, that we're beings of evolution, and so we're always creating. We create through acts of compassion. We create through exploring new things in our life, being open to learning new things that maybe we thought we were too old or not smart enough to learn. New ways of doing things and being. Opening to our imagination, that saying, I know that I'm being guided and directed into the right books or the right classes or whatever. Through our imagination, we can begin to give and to be that which we desire. Do you want to be more affluent? Imagine yourself as an affluent being, an abundant being, that everything that you need for the greater expansion of your life, for wholeness and freedom, for love, for joy, for abundance, for creativity, is flowing to you and through you now, that you recognize it as such. Do you feel like you want to be more compassionate? Activate. That's an idea. Let that idea move into your feelings. How would it feel to be more compassionate and more accepting of other people's ideas, as opposed to getting triggered? Because we are surrounded by an infinite presence that responds to our feelings, how we feel about ourselves. There's that within you that knows that you are more than okay. There's that within you that knows that you are a beautiful, creative being. There's that within you that knows that you are whole and complete. There's that within you that knows that the life that you are knows how to heal itself, that the revelations and the new ideas that you need are already within you, that you live in an infinite universe full of infinite ideas, and that you are open and receptive to being that? Are you open to new adventures? Is there somewhere that you've always wanted to go that you've never been? What ways are you putting limits and boundaries around you? How maybe are you putting yourself in a prison of your own constructs? I am saying that we can be and do and have whatever we truly desire to be and to do and to have, in accordance with the belief that we develop in ourselves, in accordance with accepting that idea, and then allowing our imagination, the fire from heaven, to express through us, to feel it, to let it take form within you. This is creation. And I love the quotes, which I think is my next slide. Yes. That says, the creative power, there is a creative power in the universe and you can use it. And that creative power responds to your feelings more quickly than any other mental attitude. The creative power within you responds to your feelings. There's this wonderful phrase that says, don't believe everything you feel. Don't believe all your feelings. Ask yourself in terms of how you're feeling. Is this what I want to see out pictured in my life? And then the second thing in slide 3 that Ernest says is to feel that we have to will something to happen, casts doubt into the face of creation and presupposes that life is not self-existent and self-propelling. Imagination taps the very roots of being and utilizes the same power that brought the world from chaos. Now, when I wrote that, I took a moment to realize that the word chaos there is not necessarily a negative word. It could be, but not necessarily. But that brings things into creation. But can you think of a time in your life, and maybe some of you could show me by hand, can you think of a time in your life that you attempted to make a change in your life through willpower alone? I can. It's exhausting. I saw Carolyn's hand over there. Ever the student. Ever the student, yes. Willpower. Well, I quit smoking in my early 20s with willpower. And yet, so let me tell you, when I was in my willpower, the people around me were not very happy. In the end, I was successful in it. But had I known about this creative power within me, that I could actually use my imagination to visualize, I'm a non-smoker. I'm free from any addiction to needing something outside of myself for my well-being. I'm a non-smoker. I have no need for whatever it is. But what's more important than the words is your imagination and visualizing it. Because the truth is that the quality and the character of one's imagination responds to your mental and emotional state. This is why it's so important for us to develop a daily spiritual practice. That we turn within, we pause, and we listen. It soothes the soul. It reminds us to let go of worries and concerns that no longer serve us. And speaking of worry, I wonder how many of you, especially us women, have gotten caught in the trap of thinking that worry equaled love. That if we were worrying about our loved ones, that we were helping them, that it meant that we cared and that we loved them. Now, of course, that is true. We care and we love them. But to worry about them and to use our imagination to visualize and to create the feelings within ourselves of worry and all the scary things that could happen, that's the field of energy that we are living in. And we know that we are energy. If anything, we are energy, and that our energy moves out beyond us and affects those that are close to us. It's called our attitude. But when we're confident and when we visualize that our loved ones have the power and the wisdom, that they know what they want, that the same power of imagination that is within you is within them. The same presence of spirit that is within you is within them. That it guides them and directs them and works to get their attention in whatever ways works for them. And if we see them making choices that we know are not helping them, we also know that they're on their own spiritual path. I had to go through everything that I went through to come to my own place of changing my mind and saying, I'm done with that. That's not working for me. I'm open to something better. I'm worth it. I'm valuable. I'm worthy. And then when I got into this teaching, I had language and ways to apply. The Spirit of God within me is whole and complete. And so am I. I'm an expression of that infinite one. This week on Facebook, Molly posted this is in my PowerPoint, the image, I think it's slide 4, about compassion. And I want to share this with you because, we can see that when we worry about others, that we're also dimming our own light. It's the one before that, Larry. It's the boot. There you go. And so if your compassion does not include yourself, it's incomplete. And this is so important, this quote from the Buddha. This is so important because we can't know for someone else something that we don't know and accept for ourselves. If your compassion does not include yourself, if the love within you is not given to yourself, the love, the support, the encouragement, it's incomplete. And you can't know, well, let me say it this way. And then you can only know for another that same fullness or lack thereof. You know, it's said that once we really begin to understand this teaching, that we have greater responsibility, because our thoughts are things. And when our thoughts are filled with imagination, it may not be the spark of heaven. It may be the spark of hell. And we know that heaven and hell is within us, and that we can shift that. And in our consciousness, where we know that everything that we need is within us, then when we have loved ourselves and shed enough compassion and understanding on ourselves, then we can begin to bring other people into that energy and know the same for them. Open my eyes that I may see the fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands that wonderful key that shall unlock the door and set me free. So I have an affirmation for you and a poem to end on. Now, this is something that you can certainly change up for yourself if you like. I allow Spirit's infinite love to open my heart. I feel the love of Spirit radiating through me to everything I see and everyone I encounter. I remember that all life is a blessing and we are all God's children. And in closing, I'd like to share with you a poem by David White called Lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again, saying, here. No two trees are the same to the raven. No two branches are the same to the wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. And so I invite you to close your eyes and to know that you are never lost. That as you turn within to the fullness of your being, that there is that place within you that speaks truth, that knows truth, that knows that you are a being of love, that you matter, that everything that you need is at your disposal. And as you allow the triggered imagination to calm down, like a little child scared of the dark, that your inner heart begins to open, that the voice of spirit within you, as you, speaks truth. That you are a child of God, an expression of the infinite life. That the infinite knows your every need and is providing for you according to your belief. That heaven is within you, and that the voice of God is that infinite Father, the all-knowing power, that it has always been there for you as you, that still small voice. That you are filled with confidence and a knowing that you are one with all life, and yet you are a unique individualization of the Creator. That the very essence of peace and life, love and joy, harmony, health and wholeness, vitality, clarity of mind, wisdom, prosperity, abundance is yours by divine right, spiritual heritage, and you claim it now. That you love yourself right where you are, here. That you accept all of the parts of yourself, the frustrated, the sad, the insecure, the fear, the belief in limitation. That you bring compassion and love and wisdom to the self that you are. We give thanks. We let the infinite spirit unfold through our lives. And together we affirm, and so it is. Amen.